It's Blap.
What up, though?
BLAPCHAT, baby. Oh man, it just doesn't have the same impact when all four of us are here.
That's why we can't even do the Blap.
No, because we have all these different melodies and Atlas with the bass, and
everybody gotta be here when we.
I'm gotta be here. Anyway, we're here. Welcome to another episode of BLAPCHAT. This is episode 113, Josh, I think. Yeah, episode 113. 113, we're up there. Last week, oh, thank you so much. These are Rolex frames. I kind of wanted to, first of all, shout to all of our listeners. If you're watching this, you see I have a little Rolex glasses. I wanted to sort of, I wanted to kind of like treat myself a little bit, and I wanted to reflect on the past year.
Right.
You know, it's really cold out in New York City tonight, so I had to dress the part.
What's the weather?
With the Sith Lord fur hoodie. This is faux, so no animals were harmed in the making of this jacket, but
that's a big hoodie.
It's a big hoodie. Yeah.
Right now in New York, it feels like 18 degrees.
It's 18 degrees in New York City. Welcome to another episode, man. First of all, I'm here. I go by the name of Illmind. I'm here with my co-host.
It's your girl, Perfection.
You already know. Perfection's here. Episode 113. Shout out to all of our listeners. If you're a first-time listener, welcome to the show. Hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button, that repost button. Shout out to everybody listening to this at work, at home, eating breakfast, during your free time, commuting, wherever you are. We appreciate you guys so much for choosing us and listening to us, man. If you're new to the show, welcome, like I said, and if you fuck with us, man, definitely hit that subscribe button on YouTube or on SoundCloud. Hit that follow, repost button, and leave comments if you guys have any insight on anything you want to talk about or ask questions or anything you guys want us to talk about. Just hit us up on all social media at BLAPCHAT. So welcome to the show, man. Shout out to all the producers, all the creators. Again, this is a podcast where we love to talk about being a music producer, the business behind it, the current events behind the art of music production. We are music producers, you know what I'm saying? So that's what we talk about. So last week was a great show. We talked to S1. You guys couldn't make it, but it was a great show. Shout to Symbolic One. Dropped a lot of gems, And since this is our last episode for the year, I feel like we can kind of do sort of like a little wrap up thing. Yeah. Just kind of talk about 2019. I think for a lot of people, this year went by very fast. Yeah. I think there were a lot of changes for a lot of people, like major changes, which I think are good. Yeah. Ultimately, I have this funny feeling about 2020. So anyway, Perfection. How was like in general, like how was your, like what were some sort of like highlight moments in your year right now that you can speak on? Because I know of a few that you're sort of,
So it's funny. I was talking to my friend the other day, and this was a weird year for me specifically, and there definitely were a lot of changes for me personally and professionally, like even me leaving my 9-to-5,
which is fire. Practicing what you preach.
Practicing what I preach.
Saying?
I left my 9-to-5.
But it's not like it was like a real desk job. It kind of was, but you were at a studio.
Right, I was still, managing a studio, which super blessed to even be able to have that opportunity. It taught me so much. And I'm still working out of there, for obviously my own creative.
As a producer.
And even just working with them on different business ventures now as a business partner. Yeah. So, making that transition, but just grateful for that opportunity. But just the 9-to-5 aspect of it was really like draining me creatively and just mentally. So, had to step away from that for a bit. But I was telling my friend the other day, like, this was actually not a bad year. I think with some of the changes that I had to make and that were made in my life. And then like at certain parts mentally and emotionally, it was exhausting for me and hard. But I was like, overall, it was still a good year. Like, I think the trials and tribulations kind of made me feel like this is a shitty year. But I think it's a part of the journey. And overall, when I was looking at what I've done this year, I had to just be grateful.
Yep.
You know, so like I did have a lot of highlights. For instance, you know, at the top of the year, we did the Grammy dinner in LA. Juice WRLD was there.
Yep.
Rest in peace to Juice WRLD.
That was fire.
You know, that
Yep.
was amazing. Hit Boy No ID. Just like being able to go on tour with Angela, with Lip Service, you know, even like doing the interviews that we've done, even like interviewing T-Minus. That was like a really great interview, you know, dropping gems. Just those little things, and just even being put in position to know that I'm on the right path.
Exactly.
Like the opportunities that have presented themselves to me. You know, I'm just like, wow, like shit's really
I mean,
super lining up.
It's crazy. From my perspective, I think like to me at least, it seems like the best thing you could have done this year was like quit your job.
And leave my relationship.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So I don't want to dig too deep into personal, whatever. But that being said, though, like these major changes, right? You know, on this podcast, obviously, we talk a lot about the whole 9-to-5 thing, job thing, and happiness. Since you left your job, obviously, it's been like, you know, lost a job, roller coaster thing. But in the overall sense of everything, how do you like feel? Like
I feel great just because
at post job.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, I'm still figuring shit out. You know, like, you know, I don't have $1 million in the bank,
of course.
So you know, it's just trying to obviously look for opportunities that can definitely continue to help me. You know, do what I'm doing, but just to be able to get some space to focus on myself for once, for real, and really just reflect on where I've been in life and my career. I think I needed that in order for me to go to the next level or, you know, be ready for new opportunities. Just taking a step back, being outside of, you know, helping someone else do what they want to do.
Yeah.
Like now it's
time
like
for you to do what you want to do.
Yeah. Thinking about me and just how to grow as a person so that I can be better in all areas of my life, right? Like how can I release any negativity that I have or any frustrations or any fear so I can be better creatively, so I can like have peace to myself so that I can, you know, all of that. So like being away from a 9-to-5 just gives me more time to reflect and focus on me and grind for me, but also allows me to do shit like go to LA, you know, tomorrow if I need to, or, you know, go to Atlanta next weekend without having to be like, oh, well, oh, it's like,
how incredible does it feel to wake up and know that you don't have to report or answer to anybody. Amazing. Feels fucking great.
Yeah, I'm like, man.
See, so that's why I want to kind of stay there for a little bit, because I think that, you know, all the questions we get on this podcast, like from music producers, creators, they're like, you know, how do I know when it's like the best time to quit my job or like do what I love or whatever? And I think that, like, first of all, like there is no perfect time, right? Did you feel that way when you quit? Because it like feeling like, oh, well, I can do this for one more year and then one more year. Or did you feel like, you know what, this is it?
I think once you start to feel like that, like you need to really take that into account and analyze it and take action one way or the other, because there was a time where for a while, for about a year, I was just like, I'm kind of getting over this just because there were other factors, you know, to it, you know, like that I don't want to go deep in, but you know, when you're doing a 9-to-5 in general, it's not even put like where you were working at a studio. It's like when you're doing 9-to-5 stuff, administrative, like dealing with clients, dealing with people that are not paying you, you know, like dealing with labels that are, you know,
you start to build up resentment.
Not resentment, but like it becomes a little exhausting. And it's just, you know, like I was relied upon a lot, which was great because of my work ethic, but that also comes with a lot too. You know, it was like, so for a while, for a year, I just felt like, all right, like, and then plus like wanting to make more money. Yeah. You know, so I'm just like, damn, I felt like I was overworking myself. You know, I wasn't like focused, like I was creating, but it was just like forcefully. Right. You know what I mean? But then I was exhausted or like focusing on other people's business, other this, other that. So, you know, for me, like a year ago, I was just like, okay. You're like over I started to like, all right. But then like that feeling started to get worse.
Right.
You know what I mean? With time. Like you try to make changes, try to change your attitude, try to be positive, be grateful. But like sometimes you just reach a point where it's overwhelming. Something has to change.
Yeah.
So like,
it's hard to be positive when it's
just not right.
Yeah. When you're like, when you wake up and you go to like a job that you don't necessarily love, it's hard because you are surrounded by like the people you interact with, the place you are, the work you're doing, you're not fulfilled. Yeah. So it's hard to like stay positive, right? And and then it's like, you try, but like sometimes when it's not right, it's not right. Like with anything in life, if it just doesn't feel right, there's a reason behind that. So I just felt like, let me not force this. Obviously, I have my frustrations. I felt like I wasn't being heard about certain things. I felt I wanted to be more creative and not be tired or, just a lot of shit. So, I felt that, and then it just kept getting worse. And I was just like, okay, before it gets worse, I need to focus on me. Like, am I happy? Like, what do I want? Like, and fuck trying to like be a good worker or like grateful. Like, how do I feel? Like, yes, I'm grateful, but I'm exhausted. Yeah. You know what I mean? So like, what can I do to make myself feel better about this? Yeah. There was only one option. At that point, there was just an option. Like, it's clear that this is no longer working for me. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I have to change it. You have to change it. Yeah. And then you prioritize yourself. Like something really, really amazing happens when you start to prioritize yourself. Yeah. Like it's really... Yeah, and I'm like the kind of person, I'm really selfless. Like, I can be selfish if I got to be an asshole, like if like whatever. But like people that I care about and things that I'm involved in, I go hard. Yep. And, I'm always available. I'm always that person you can count on. You can trust me. And sometimes that becomes a lot because you're always going to be relied on. You might be the only person that's called and you overwhelm yourself. And I think for me, I overextended myself and I had to, even just this time reflecting, like I had to realize that about myself as a person in general. In a lot of situations, I overextend myself and sometimes like undervalue myself. Exactly. You know what I mean? So like even that time, like just kind of showed me like how to speak my worth more and how to like learn how to walk away from things that are no longer serving me or that aren't reaching my level of, whatever worth, value. Right. Even like a lot of opportunities that have been presented to me this year, I've said no to stuff. I've learned to say no and not settle because I want to be a good person or because, I've done that. And sometimes I end up falling short. Yeah. Like I get the short end of the stick. Yeah. So for once I had to be like, learn how to say no to certain things. Learn how to say, no, I need this in order for that to work. Yeah. What do I need? What do I want? How can I get better? Exactly. So that was like really important for me to kind of like step away from that and just like, because it's helped me grow as a person, change my perspectives. It put fire under my ass more than anything. And it just gave me some freedom to like just think differently, work differently. Exactly. And it also seems like after you quit your job, more opportunities start to manifest, like the whole thing with that and doing this and that, and like you those opportunities probably never would have manifested if you were still and just even traveling. Like it's easy to be like, all right, cool, that's going on, all right, I'm gonna go down there next weekend, cool, all right, next month, and I can work around that versus like, damn, I can't go because I gotta sit in front of a desk. I think the takeaway from this is that if you're currently working a 9 to 5 and you're not happy, you can tell yourself, let me just do it for one more year or another year, and then 5 years go and you're still at the same job. Whereas if you really just like take that leap and trust, I mean, you're not gonna, there is no perfect time other than right now to do it. It's almost like trees, right? The metaphor with trees where it's like, well, trees take like 30 years to grow, right? So like the best time to have planted a tree was 30 years ago. And the next best time to plant a tree is now. Yeah. And so it's kind of a similar thing. So like, and when I speak from my perspective, like I haven't had a 9 to 5 job in like 16, 17 years. So it's like unfair sort of for me to like give advice on that. But I will say that when I did have a job, I bet on myself and put all the way into myself.
Right.
Right. And luckily I was like young enough. I was a kid. I was young enough to like do that with like, I didn't have like big responsibilities. It was just like, let me just focus on my shit. And I think that if you want to be successful in this industry, you have to experience this period of time where like you are the priority.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's like, and it's not this selfish thing where it's like everything is about me. You're the priority, meaning, you know what? I'm not going to go to that party tomorrow that all of my friends or whoever want me to come to. Instead, I'm going to stay home and I'm going to fucking work on beats.
Yeah. And even for me,
you know what I mean? Like,
and even for me, like I've like just, it's allowed me to kind of realize the value and like realize the value in certain things and realize what doesn't have value. Like for instance, a couple people was like, yo, this holiday party, this like 3 weeks ago. And I'm like, I'm going to be in Atlanta.
Yeah.
You know, and then when I come back, I'm like, I got a couple studio sessions. So like, I'm like, you know, all right, cool. I can go to Def Jam's holiday party, but like,
what are you going to do?
Let's work.
Yeah, no.
Let's build.
That's it.
You know what I mean? So like, I'm not like rushing to like be like in the mix or like in front of people. I'm rushing to do the work. Like, what do I need, you know, to kind of propel my career? What kind of mentality do I even need? You know, like I got FL Studio now. So I've been like studying, you know, how to like really go around a program. Cause I was, you know, obviously using Logic for years and I haven't used FL in a while. So like I'm getting my like workflow back. So good. You know, I'm just focused on like working. And I think that's what you have to do is like reach a point where you're focused on really working on your goals. It is hard for a lot of people because some people do need a 9-to-5 with kids or taking care of their family and stuff. But I think keeping it in mind and being conscious of what you need to do in order to move forward. And one way or the other, that energy is going to manifest something to happen. You know what the difference is though? The difference with that is it's a mentality thing and it's a choice, right? So like the way I look at that is, and I guess this applies to just life in general, and I've said this in the past, you're either playing defense or offense. But I think that has everything to do with what you're talking about. Like when you were at your 9-to-5, when you were, you know, working at the studio, in a way you were playing defense because it was like you were there because you wanted to get a check, right? And it was sort of like playing defense in a way. Or just any 9-to-5, I feel like is a defense play because most people go into 9-to-5s. Luckily, your 9-to-5 was like a passion because you were at a studio too. You were managing a studio. But I think most people that do 9-to-5s that they dislike, they sort of get like shoved into that. Right. And it's because they're playing defense. They're afraid to disappoint their parents, or they're afraid to disappoint their spouse, or they're afraid to disappoint themselves, and so they put all the value in like making money. So like they'll do anything to make an hourly wage, which is like what America's built on, and there's like nothing wrong with that. But when I'm speaking in terms of like being a successful musician, you have to switch that from playing defense to playing offense, meaning, you know, I'm going to shoot every shot I can take. I'm going to prioritize myself. I'm going to put myself in positions where I can be of value to people, as opposed to, walking into a situation and just like playing defense. Like I'm trying to like fix everything. You know what I mean? Like, I think people get caught up with trying to solve problems instead of like living life. Yeah. You know? And it's funny because like someone told me that the other day, and I've been like reading that too, and it resonated with me a lot in like my current like the current state of where I'm at in my journey. It's like it's a time to like reflect and like do the work, but like not feel like I have to like rush the outcome or solve the problem or like rush to like get something out of it. It's just like live it, just go with it. Do it,
It's
not
impatience.
like, and I feel like I've done that a lot because I think I always like not worry about outcomes, but like, you know, you focus on what you're doing, but then you're also focused on like where you're trying to go with it and what you're trying to get out of it. And I'm learning how to just like live in the moment, do what I love, you know what I need to put in, you know, to make it happen, know where I'm lacking, and just go with it and not like intimidate myself or frustrate myself or let like certain things like hold me back, you know. And I think for me, I knew I needed to leave the studio, and I manifested that so much by saying it and feeling it, but also trying to work. And it happened. I ended up leaving, and then other opportunities started coming in. So I think like when I left the job, I was just like, I can't leave because I don't have nowhere to go.
Right.
You know, let me just wait till I find something. Let me wait because I need this. I need something. Then I just like was like, man, I just can't wait anymore. Yeah. You know. Yeah. And I did it. And I just felt like it all happened when it was supposed to happen. So like, yeah, sometimes even if you are in your 9 to 5 for an extra 6 months or a year, you know, maybe you have to be there for that next 6 months to a year, but you know that it's going to happen. Like you have to leave this place in order for you to succeed. It's inevitable. You know, so I think if you have that in your mind, it kind of helps you instead of being like, no, well, I'm going to be here. I have to be here. And then because all you're there for a year or two. All you're doing is delaying the inevitable. Yeah. So if you tell yourself like, yeah, this is not it for me, but I know I have to stay here for 6 months to, you know, save, then your mentality already shifts to like, okay, in 6 months, we're leaving. Exactly. So you got to do the work now in order to get there. And I think just like having that in your mind, like if you feel like you don't belong somewhere, there's a reason for that. Yep. So try to like, you know, weigh out your options.
Exactly. And I also bet that when you were feeling and thinking about leaving the job, the idea of you waking up in the morning and not having to come back to the job, I bet it made you feel really good.
Amazing.
That feeling was amazing. So check this out. So I made this post on Instagram earlier today about visualization and you know, visualizing your future, whether it's the immediate future or like the distant future, but you visualize it in your mind, right? And I'm going to put myself in your shoes and correct me if I'm wrong. But when you were at the job, you were, you know, obviously you were unhappy, you were exhausted, all of these things. And when you told yourself for the first time, I think I want to quit, I bet that in your mind, you were, by accident, you were already visualizing yourself not having to walk into that job and waking up at whatever time you want. The idea of making beats made you feel a certain way.
Yeah, even little shit. Like we'd have meetings and I'm like,
I don't have to do these meetings anymore.
Shit again.
Right. So check this out. The feeling, right? The feeling is all that matters in terms of,
it makes you act that way.
It makes you act. So let me add on to that. So people get caught up in like law of attraction shit because they think it's like, oh, well, like if you envision it, then like it will happen. Well, no, not necessarily.
Right.
When you envision certain things, right, what you're doing is you're tapping into the feeling that it gives you. And that the feeling it gives you is all that matters. The actual accuracy of the outcome does not matter. So people get caught up. They're like, well, I envisioned myself, you know, winning a Grammy in 2017, or I envisioned myself doing an album with, Future, and I didn't do that, right? It didn't happen for me, and then they get pissed off, right? And then they're feeling like shit. But what they're missing is that you can visualize things, and you could be specific in your mind. But all you have to really focus on and understand is that the feeling, the way it makes you feel, is all that matters. Because what the universe will do, and this is where law of attraction comes in, what the universe will do is it'll manifest the feeling for you, for sure. But it won't tell you in advance exactly how. It'll just do it for you in another way, in its own way. So you almost have to trust the universe to to play it out for you, but know that like the emotion that you're feeling will happen. Right. So like, obviously you quit your job, you feel great. I'm sure some of the things that have been happening since you left the job, you didn't expect, right? Specifically, you didn't know they were going to happen, but they start to happen. That's the universe saying, I'm going to surprise you, but I'm going to give you that feeling that you felt before you quit the job. I think that's super important because it works the other way too. Yeah. It works super powerful the other way. Like if you feel like shit, trust me, you might not know what'll happen, but just know that like you're gonna feel like shit.
And there's definitely been times where like I felt like shit and I'd make myself feel worse. Yeah. Because I'm just thinking about like how negative I feel or like, you know, the situation at hand and then it happens. Or even if something already happened, it's like I make myself feel worse, and then even making yourself feel worse and then just having such like that pessimistic kind of mind frame,
you know what that
would
is?
Attract more negative.
You know what that is? That's a triple trauma right there. Triple trauma. It's when you think about something bad happening in the future, that's trauma number one. You're like, fuck, I feel like shit because I'm predicting that something bad will happen before it even happens. And then the universe is like, oh, you like that feeling. All right, I'm gonna give that to you. Yeah. And then it happens in real life. That's shitty. Trauma number 2. So now you're experiencing it twice. And then 2 weeks later, you think about it like, fuck, that thing that happened 2 weeks ago, that sucked. Yeah. Trauma number 3. So you just like traumatize yourself 3 times.
But even like if a situation happened, right? Like, and that's what I'm learning about like reflecting and meditating and then like changing perspective is like, you know, something could have happened, like, and you're frustrated. Like, let's say right now, like, you know, you don't get like a placement that you really were working hard for.
Which happens to me all the time.
And then like you beat yourself up, which is normal. You're like, fuck, man, I really wanted that, right? Like, you know, normal. It's like, damn, now you think about it. But then like you stay stuck there and then you make yourself feel worse and then make the situation worse. And then it just, you know, snowballs. And I've learned how to like, you have to get out of that. Like it's okay to feel mad or sad, reflect on it, and then like change the perspective on like what can be different next time to then get a better outcome. Because, you know, just like you said, like you're attracting negativity. So you're sad, you get angry, you get more frustrated. You're frustrated for too long, then everything frustrates you, and then you're always frustrated. Exactly. You know what I mean? So like
it snowballs. And it's hard to dig yourself out of it. Yeah. But when you start to
realize that that's
it works in the positive way too. Yeah. Like when you see people out there that are winning, right? And then you're like, damn, another win. Damn, another win. Damn, another win. That person is just snowballing positivity and success. The universe is snowballing it to them, right? You rarely see someone like get a couple wins and then disappear. But then 9 times out of 10, you find out like deeper why that happened. And sometimes it's, you know, maybe substance abuse, or maybe they were their own worst enemy, or maybe they just got lucky or whatever. Like there's some type of issue in terms of like why someone like wins and then like completely just like stops winning. Right. So like the universe is so powerful. It's almost like a rubber band. I remember reading this book and they made a metaphor about how life is sort of like a rubber band where, you know, if you're thinking negative or positive thoughts, it's like stretching a rubber band, right? You're stretching it. At some point it's going to give. And when you let go of the rubber band, the shit snaps back. You know what I mean? Like in a real serious way. And it creates this like ball of energy that like dissipates into the universe. And like when you experience that in a negative way, it's really tough. Yeah. It's really tough. But when you experience it in a positive way, it's amazing. It's you're living your best life. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's really crazy. So I think the question is, what are some practical things that you can do to switch your emotion and your mindset toward the positive? I think that's the real like
I think one
question.
Thing that I've learned to do, and this is different, but really it's just sitting with your feeling, like learning how to sit with your feeling. And a lot of people don't know how to do that or can't do that, and I've learned how to do it recently myself. And it's basically like acknowledging how you feel and why, but letting that feeling sit there and let it, like you almost have to, it's like a passenger getting on a bus. Like, let's say you're on a bus, right? This is a perfect analogy, maybe. You are on a bus, right? And, you know, the negative feeling comes in, which is another passenger, and they sit right next to you. Just let it sit next to you.
Yeah. Wait.
Until it has to get up, until its stop comes, and then it gets off, you know?
And then like, now it's gone.
Yeah.
So let it happen.
Like, let it sit there, let it happen. Like,
but let time go by.
Or not even time, like maybe time, because time is also, you know, it's also difficult to say time, because some people, that passenger will, you know,
will be there for 5 years.
Yeah, till the last bus stop, and then it'll stay there till it takes the route again. True. You know what I mean? But like, not fighting it, like, you know, let it move out the way so the passenger can get off the bus, you know, or whatever. And I've learned how to do that, because I think in the past I've fought my feelings a lot subconsciously. Like when you're angry, you feed into the anger, or when you're sad, you feel into the sadness. You know what I mean? But like, just, why am I angry? Or why is this bothering me for real? Yeah. You know, is it because I'm jealous? Is it because like I feel like I deserve more? What do I feel like I deserve? That's mindfulness,
what you're talking about right now.
You know what I mean? Like, what do I feel like I deserve? Okay, how can I get that? How can I react differently next time? And then that, like, you know what I mean? That helps you too, you know?
Yeah, because what you're doing is you're sort of like removing yourself. This is going to sound weird, but you're removing yourself from your own body. And then you're looking at yourself objectively, and you're saying, am I being crazy right now? Let me think about this, how I'm reacting.
Or like, why am I feeling this way?
Why am I feeling this way?
Yeah, like, I'm sad. Why am I sad? Okay.
Exactly.
I understand that this is going to change. And that's the key, is like, everything changes. Everything has to change.
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to add on to that, because that's genius. And which, by the way, guys, if you want to dig into what perfection is talking about, it's a real thing. I don't know the name of it, but it really has something to do with like mindfulness, and in every situation you're in, like sort of having an outer body experience in a way where you're like objectively looking at what you're doing in third person, and saying,
and it's
why
hard.
am I feeling this way?
And
it's tough.
It's hard, because sometimes, like me, for instance, you know, I'm like, you know, it's cool, sweet girl, but I have my flaws too. You know what I mean? And like, sometimes I can get angry, you know, sometimes like my reactions aren't the best, you know, like depending on the situation, right? But like, sometimes whatever it is, whether it's sadness, anger, whatever. And, you know, I've had to learn how to be like, whoa, why am I feeling this way? You know, I've actually seen a counselor, you know, just about different things. And I've had conversations with her, like, why do I feel this way? Or how can I prevent this from bothering me? Like, how can I stop having these things affect me? You know, and she's the one that was like, you know, you have to sit with your feeling, like feel it, understand it, see why you feel that way. You know, and then eventually shift your perspective. Like, and, you know, I had to like really practice that, and I still do, because it's a reactional thing. Like, you have to, like you said, take yourself out of your body. That takes time. Like, you need to like, wait, sit. Whoa. Take a step back. You know, and like, so that's hard, because sometimes like in the moment is like, you just feel how you feel, or you have your opinion or perspective, but like, that's something I'm actively working on. And that's like a journey that I've been on this year, which is like something that I think I need to go to the next level, is changing my perspective on a lot of things, you know? So I think that helps people, is like really understanding, why is your perspective like this? Why do you feel that way? Where does it stem from?
It's like super powerful. I was watching this interview, and they were talking about addiction, right? And they were talking about you know, why certain things make you feel a certain way, and like the science behind it, and how the brain, you know, reacts to doing things, right? And the thing that like blew my mind was this. Scientific studies have shown that, and I think this fact, or I believe it's fact, the human brain was designed to at all times throughout the day, what the brain is actually doing at all times is it's seeking comfort at all times. So when it's cold outside, what do? We wear faux fur, hooded jackets for warmth, right? Comfort. When it's hot out, what do? We, t-shirts, shorts, we adjust the room. If we feel bad about a certain thing, we seek comfort. If we are hungry, we go find food, seek comfort. Everything is seeking comfort, right? And so when you have an addiction, let's say like you're addicted to like sugar or something, and you're like, damn, I want to go like grab a cookie or a donut or whatever. So your body is like seeking comfort and your brain is like, go get the cookie. So when you're thinking about like addiction, and kind of ties into like what you were just talking about in terms of like looking at yourself objectively, there's this really cool trick that I think people should try, and I've tried a few times, it definitely works, is when you have a craving for something, or you feel like you want to make a certain decision that won't be good for you, right? You do what's called the 10-minute rule, where you say, you know what? I'm gonna give myself permission to do the thing that I'm wanting to do right now, but I'm allowed to do it as long as I wait 10 minutes from now to do it.
Right. To see how
so
you feel.
Wait 10 minutes and something crazy happens. When you wait 10 minutes to do something, you lose
interest,
the urge to do it. Either your brain sort of like goes in a different place, or you get distracted or something. You end up sort of like not doing it. It's really powerful stuff. So I think that's like kind of worth the try. Obviously it doesn't seem like it's 100% flawless depending on the person, but try it. I'm gonna try that. If you're craving, or if you're angry at somebody,
I'm gonna try that, because there's been times that I've been angry.
Yo, 10 minutes. Give me 10 minutes. I'm gonna fucking call this. Give me 10 minutes. You know what I mean? Let me call you in 10 minutes. Yeah, give me 10 minutes. And
then like within that 10 minutes, you're like, actually, I'm not going to curse you out.
I'm not going to curse you out. I'm still going to say fuck you, but.
Actually, I was going to curse you out if I called you right now, but.
I still hate you, but.
Yeah, those 10 minutes calm me down, and I'm going to just handle it. I'm going to just ignore you.
The 10-minute thing is crazy. It's crazy.
That's a fact.
Yeah, I mean, I think all of these things we're talking about, like, directly affect the reason why music producers, music creators are not able to take it to the next level. Right. I think that people think it's like lack of strategy or lack of money, or I don't have the relationships. No, like none of that stuff matters. 99% of your problem is here. Right. It's here and in here.
And you'd be surprised sometimes what the problem is. Like, even with me, like just not being in a relationship anymore after 3 years is like new for me.
Yeah. You've always been a relationship type, right? Not really.
I'm a relationship type, but haven't had too many relationships. Yeah. Like, before this relationship, the last one I was in was like 6 years ago. Right. So like, okay. I'm like, I'll date and get to know you. Yeah. But like, everyone's not my boyfriend. Like this, it's hard for me to even find someone that, so it's different. But I've realized that like my friend likes to say, I've used a lot of my emotional currency on making my relationship work. Yep. And now I don't have to worry about that. Now I use all my emotional currency on like
good emotions.
How do I move forward what I want to do? Exactly. Like now I don't have like, emotional currency going into my career and like plotting and planning and working and creative, and then like emotional currency here. And then it's like fears here, fears there, questions here, question there. Like now I don't have that, like those negative, and I don't want to say the relationship was negative distraction, because it wasn't. It was a great relationship, but it just had its, its his thing.
Yeah.
But like just the negative distractions that came from like the frustrating parts.
Exactly.
Like, you know, I don't have to think about that. Like I don't have to think about like my fears or questions or how to like fight or make this work or like, you know, and
the place that you are in right now is literally,
it's a great place.
It's the place where you now could access greatness.
Yeah.
Trust me.
It's the place that I say that about Josh.
It's the place
that I had to get to in order to reach the next level of real success in my life. And that was really hard for me to realize this year, is that like I had to leave the things that I really loved in order to grow as a person. And that included like my relationship and like my job, like figuring out how can I be better without these things that I fought so hard for. But I feel like now I need to fight hard for myself.
That's it.
And that was like a really harsh reality for me. You know, it was like losing two important things in your life. But I just felt that losing that, I had to find myself. And I think I needed that in order to propel to the next level of my career, because now I don't have to worry about like being angry in a 9-to-5 or like being angry in a relationship or like.
Those are two big ones. Exactly. Those are like huge.
You know what I mean?
That was your everyday life.
Exactly.
Like every day, those two things were not just, you know, on relationships or whatever, but like those two things were
me and my partner were really close.
Yeah,
so it was just like every day, those two things. So it's like a huge transition to like not be without those things.
I think that's hugely.
But it also shows like it's showing me strength. It's showing me my worth. It's showing me more mindfulness, because it's allowing me to reflect in both areas and like how I can grow in both areas, and also how I can grow as a person myself, so that I can like, you know, grow in those areas. And I think I just needed this space to myself, really space away from like a frustrating 9-to-5.
I think that's hugely important to talk about, because I think there's a lot of creators out there who are in similar situations, whether it's the job thing or the relationship thing, or like maybe you know, you have kids and you feel like the pressure
or
of
family
family, whatever it might be. That shit is real.
Yeah,
I think that's not talked about enough. Yeah.
It was really hard. Like I felt like this year at one point I hit rock bottom. So I was like, what the fuck is good with my life? Yeah. Where am I going? But I had a lot of amazing highlights, a lot of amazing opportunities, like my friends, my support system, like this, you know, like music. I always have music everywhere. Like frustrated at work, still cook up later in the room. You know, frustrated here, still cooking up. So, you know, for me, like I was just like, where is life going? But I know where it's going. It was just like really hard to like have that transition of two of the most important things. But I felt like majority of the lesson that I learned is really like choosing myself.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
You gotta
like,
choose yourself.
Yeah, choosing myself. And, you know, I think that was like a really big thing for me this year, but it was necessary, especially it happening like, you know, like middle, end of the year going into a new year. So it's like everything fresh for 2020.
2020 is the year of clarity and vision. That's what everyone's saying. 2020 vision.
I feel like people were like, this year was the year of clarity. Next year is the year vision, of like tunnel
execution. Go.
So I mean, you know, I'm just ready to like continue to make good music and release some shit next year.
That's it.
You know, like next year.
I went on this rant recently about how music producers are so overly caught up on strategy and are not putting enough time and effort and energy into just being in the studio and making music. And when you look at those two things as separate entities, it makes no sense to put energy into a strategy or a marketing or a ClickFunnels when you don't have the product.
But that's the hard thing with social media and society, right? Is because I was just saying that social media is going to get even crazier after this year, I feel. But everyone has social media, so you see what everyone's doing, you see what everyone's working on. So it's like And we talk about it here too. It's like, put yourself out there, promote yourself, market yourself.
But here's the thing though, you only see the good stuff.
Right.
You don't see.
But even then, I feel like a lot of people feel obligated to do those things just to stay with the times.
Of course.
Show that they're
But that's
out
where
here.
people fuck up.
Right.
That's where people fuck up.
You're more focused on showing the strategy versus executing the work.
Yeah, you're basically, when you look at a successful person's Instagram, you're seeing the wins.
Right.
You're seeing all of the wins. You're seeing, and it literally takes that person 2 minutes to post up, make a post, right? So that's what you're seeing. So you're adjusting your life to someone else's 100% winning resume. Mm-hmm. But you're not seeing, the 10 hours straight with no sleep that someone put in the studio to make a song or to make this or that or whatever. So like you're not being fair with your expectations. So like people have it so backwards. And so obviously when I look at, my own shit and my career, it's like, yeah, I'm getting all these placements and I've gotten all these things because 99.9% of the time I'm literally in the studio with my phone in the other room. I'm literally in the studio making music. Mm-hmm. If I'm not making music, I'm doing a podcast with you guys or, doing Pass the Aux with Josh or whatever it is. Like that takes up 5 to 10% of my time, but 90% of it is me in the studio making music and like meeting people and stuff. And you don't see that stuff on the gram necessarily. Right, yeah. So I think...
because you're not going to be all day like...
No, I can't. I mean,
you can record yourself for 8 hours.
Yeah, and I do. I
like,
do the YouTube stuff now, and I'm showing people my process. But I think that's like a big thing we should all think about going into 2020 is like from the music producer perspective, like let's put a little less focus on the strategy stuff for now. Yeah. That stuff's important.
And I think that's what I've been focusing more. Like I'll post a selfie, I'll post like a pic of me in the studio, but I'm really focused on like getting my craft where it needs to be, like being in the studio, like learning new techniques, like because it all could come later, you know what I mean, and all will come later. But I'm like I'm not worried too much about showing what I'm doing or showing who I'm with. Like y'all know who I be with, y'all know what I'm doing. Like I'll post shit, but like
there's a lot of people on Instagram that are showing things but not executing anything. And
social media honestly has been boring me lately.
Yeah.
Like I'm not gonna get off of it obviously, and like I use it, but like even sometimes through Twitter, like there's just people I'm like, you literally don't get off fucking Twitter.
Yeah.
Like
they're there all day.
Y'all talk all day and it shows.
Yeah. Yeah.
Literally. And I'm like,
it's pretty wild. It's pretty wild, man.
Like they like, and trust me, I love Twitter. I love socials. I love interacting. Like vent how you vent, talk how you talk. But sometimes people are talking about absolutely nothing, and I'm like,
yeah, exactly.
This is literally your mind just farting. Like you're just typing any little thought that comes to your mind. You know what I mean? I'm like,
my earphones keep going out. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
You know what I mean? I'm like,
absolutely right.
So I'm like. It makes me want to be on social media less, actually. And I like that because I feel like, sometimes you get consumed with like just scrolling what's on the news, what's the latest. Because
that's why, dude, this is the thing. I always say this, man. And I'm going to stand by this. Use social media as a tool.
Right.
And not less about entertainment.
Exactly.
And more about a tool because... And this is only if your goal is to succeed as a music producer, music creator.
Yeah, if you're trying to be like a gossip guy, a gossip girl, sure.
I don't have advice for you. I don't know what you're going to do. But if you want to be a music producer in this shit, you want the success, use social media as a tool to your advantage and ask yourself two things. When I'm on social media, how can I use my social media accounts to help people, not promote myself, but to bring value to people? And how can I use it to be inspired by people? Because like when you follow people that are inspiring, you know, we've talked about this before, like people go to social media for entertainment, for inspiration, those two things basically, right? And to like stay connected with people. So you're doing either one of those two things. If you're consuming to be entertained all day, well, like you might as well just watch TV and not do anything because you're not being productive, right? So I don't know. That's my thing is like use your time to be productive in some kind of way with your craft. And if you're not consuming things that will inspire you or empower you on social media, then go make beats.
Yeah, I've definitely muted so many words and so many people on my Twitter because I'm just like, I don't even want to see the negative shit y'all talking about. There's certain negative words that I was just like, I don't even want to.
I gotta start doing that.
Bring that in my brain.
Filtering words out.
Swear to God, if you see
I gotta do that.
Even little shit, like, and then tweets will come up and it's like, oh, this tweet's unavailable because it includes a word you muted. Yeah. And then I have the choice to see. Like, all right, what's that tweet?
That's cool.
Yeah. So like I've muted stuff that even like just negative stuff, even stuff like certain keywords that are negative. I'm like, I don't even want to see that.
Dude, that shit can ruin your day.
Yeah.
It's so fucked
Anything that's sad or like, I'm just like, mute it real quick. Yeah. Because I'm like, I just want positivity to come in. Like, I want my feed to be positive because that shit can ruin your day. Negative gossip. People fighting back and forth.
It can also make your day fantastic.
Yeah. It all depends how you look at it.
Yeah. It depends on the type of content you're consuming.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. Yo, that shit is powerful, man.
But like, speaking of music now. Yeah. 2019. What were some of your favorite releases?
Man, 2019 was
do you think it was a good year for hip hop?
Yeah. I think it was.
I think next year is going to be better.
Next year is going to be more heavy hitters. I think 2019 was the surgence of like new talent, like Lil Nas X and Lizzo, and Baby it was very pop heavy, it was very R&B heavy. But yeah, I think that next year will be very different. I think next year will be holy shit, a lot of holy shit moments.
Were you excited to drop?
So many, man. Like, I mean, everybody,
Rihanna.
Yeah, all the usual suspects. I'm excited about Keem, Baby Keem. I mean, bro, love Baby Keem. I'm excited about
Baby
Boogie,
Keem is
Westside Boogie.
Baby Keem is a funny story.
Yeah? For you? You want to tell it?
I've been, I was posting Baby Keem since 2018. So.
Like before the.
Yeah, so my, homie was the first one I discovered.
Keem. Oh, wow.
2017.
Wow. Keem is amazing.
He's a fucking star.
He's a superstar.
Star, bro.
Keem, Westside Boogie, all the usual people. I don't want to name them, but I think it's gonna be an interesting year. Obviously I got a couple things up my sleeve, but like
me too.
Dude,
by the way.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I think 2020 is gonna be amazing. I think that we're entering an interesting phase of like the online music producer community.
Why?
Well, I think we're in this place of. I think we're in an amazing place. Number one, let's get that straight. I think that it's the best time, no better time to be a music producer. I think that we are in this phase where there's just so many options. There's so many things that you can do as a producer. And I think it's being a little counterproductive for some people because there's too many choices. And so there's people that are getting overwhelmed. There's people that are trying a million things and not necessarily able to like focus on one thing. So, you can go the YouTube route where you're, making beats on YouTube and like getting subscribers and being a YouTube person. You can go the be like Illmind route where you're doing panels and like, you're, even though you don't have any accolades, you're still giving advice. Let me just do shots fired. No, I don't want to do that. Fake influencer.
Go ahead,
you can be a fake
shots
influencer.
Fired. Bang, bang.
No accolades, but you're giving people advice. Great. You could be, you can sell drum kits. You can do sample packs. You could try to produce music. You can do leasing beats for $50.
Funny. He's like, great.
You know what I'm saying? You can do, you could try to be an industry producer. I mean, there's so many approaches.
Just fucking make music.
Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord.
You know what I mean? Just make music.
You can do ClickFunnels.
Music. Yeah, man.
Hey, what else you want to do?
Make the music and don't be a cornball.
Make the music. Do not be a cornball. Make the music. Making the music is the important thing. Listen, guys, make the music first and then figure out what you want to do. It's okay to try everything. All of those things we just named, like, it's okay to do those things. Like, try those things.
Except being an influencer that's talking about stuff that you don't do. That's like weird. Except
for trying to be an influencer when you have no idea what you're talking about. Listen, there's people that argue with me. They're like, yo, you know, what people that aren't as successful are allowed to give advice because maybe what they're saying is true. Well, yeah, that's true. Maybe they read it off of a book and did it and it's not based on their own experience. I get it. But to me, this is my whole thing about it. When you're putting a uniform on and you're going to your job and you're becoming this other person, and then when you go home you take the uniform off, right? When you look at it in a way where you are not being your true self and you're just, you know, being this character, you're creating this narrative of this like made up person. At some point in time, you're going to forget to put your costume on, or at some point in time, you're not going to be able to back up a certain comment, or at some point in time, you're going to forget something. At some point, you're going to fuck up when you're not being yourself, right? Because you're just constantly just trying to be this other thing. And to me, it's like, well, I believe in authenticity. I'm a firm supporter of being yourself, being authentic, being true to yourself. And when you move around in that way, there's no way for you to fuck up because people don't have any dirt on you. Like, people decide on the authenticity of you and not the other way around. It almost goes back to the brand part where it's like people think, oh, my brand is X, Y, and Z. Well, no, you don't get to decide what your brand is. People, the consumers, decide what your brand is. All you can do is just do what you do. I think that's super, super powerful and super important, you know? So anyway, so shout out to all you guys that are
not being fake.
not being, you know,
fake influencers,
but I think
don't be a fake influencer. Like, please don't.
Can we leave
like,
that?
Be whatever you want, except that. Just a fake influencer, anything. Yeah. Like, anything.
Yeah. Don't play yourself, man. Don't.
Like, there was this guy on Instagram. You know, I don't follow the Shade Room, but occasionally I like to just, you know, see what bullshit's going on. Yeah. You know, peek behind the curtain. So they're constantly posting these ads of, like, you know, people pay them to say, like, oh, he made $1 million off of his business. Yeah. And they'll post like a picture of somebody in like their suit and tie and their briefcase. And then a picture next to their Ferrari in sweats. Like, and I'm just like, so there's like one guy that they posted and he's like, there's a picture of him. It's so, I have to show you guys. It's lame as fuck. Oh, no. He's like, you know, standing next to like some wood, like if he's about to do construction, but you could tell he's just like looking at it for the picture. And then another one, he's like giving a homeless man money that's laying on the floor. Oh God. I'm like, dude. No. And then he has videos like how to make 7 figures. And it's like, no. I'm like,
it's so funny because there's people that are selling
how to be something that they're not. So they make money off of it.
But not only that, they're selling you how to do. They're selling you how to sell. So they're like, hey, I do this. I can help you do it too. But I'm not really making money from the thing I'm showing you. I'm making money from showing you how to do the thing. But like, I'm not actually doing the thing.
Right. He's like, I made 7 figures off of my business. Let me show you how. And then he gives you all these like influencer, conversations and videos, but then people are paying him.
Yo, it's such a fucking wormhole. It's a brain fuck.
Like, I was going through his comments, and there are people like, "Oh my God, I'm in college. Like, I really need your advice. $100? How much?" And I'm just like, so he's making those 7 figures off all y'all dumbasses
who want to make 7 figures. But they're not going to because you never did in the first place. Oh man, it's like it's like a backwards like brain fuck.
It's crazy. And then what's crazier is the fact that there are people out there that really believe it and can't see the bullshit.
No,
I think we've been in front of bullshit that we're like,
that's why I say cream rise to the top. At some point, these people are going to forget to put their costume on, and the cream will rise to the top. That's why I never worry. Like, this is just me being selfish and just like speaking from my perspective, but that's why I never worry about like when I do something and then someone else copies what I do. Let me say that again. When I do something and when somebody else copies exactly what I do, I don't get angry or frustrated at all. I feel empathy, and I feel excitement for that person to try to take my idea to the next level. But I also feel sadness.
Yeah.
I feel sadness because I know that at some point this person will forget to put their uniform on. And at some point people are going to realize, oh, really? Oh, that's a shame. And it makes me not worry about me because everything that I say and everything that I do, I always take my own advice. All the shit I say, all the stuff I do, I execute first and then let me do it. Let me not try to help people without trying to help myself first. Let me do it first and then let me show the thing or provide the thing, which I thought is what it's supposed to be,
you're also
right?
like, because once you reach the point where you're like faking, you're faking what you're talking about. What happens when people end up actually doing it and they fall into the pitfall of the negative things that come from that? What are you going to tell them then?
Yeah.
Give them mediocre advice on how to get past the hurdles? You know what I mean? Like,
oh my God, mediocre advice on how to get past the hurdles. That's so real shit.
You know what I mean? And then it's like, then when it doesn't work, then what? You know what I mean?
No, then you're in the wormhole. But my thing is this, like, I don't want you guys to think, like, from my perspective, like, I don't know everything. I'm still learning in real time, right? So I'll never speak on things that I don't have actual experience doing, right? So I'm still learning so much. I have so much more to learn and do and accomplish. I feel like I'm just getting started too. But so my whole thing is just like with the influencer thing, like, if you're impacting people in a positive way, that's all fine. That's fine and well. But at some point in time, you're gonna something could potentially happen, and that's all I'm saying. That's all. Don't shoot me for that. That's all I'm saying.
Don't shoot the pro.
Don't like, come on, guys, come on. Let's stop fucking around out here. Man. Dude, this is a good way to end the year off.
We should do a BLAPCHAT for
We're about to do it. Has been a very long time since we've done BLAPCHAT because the email was full. We reached our fucking limit on the email the email submissions on BLAPCHAT. So check it out, guys. We're gonna do some BLAPCHATs here. Oh, okay, we got some. I think I made this announcement a couple weeks ago. So we're going to do this segment we're going to end the year off with Blap or Crap. We're doing this segment where we randomly choose your submissions, your beat submissions. We're going to play a snippet. And then if we like the beat, we're going to give you a blap. If we don't like it, we're going to give you a crap and give you a little bit of constructive criticism. So before, the way we were doing it was we were accepting MP3 attachments, but because our email is full, in order to submit your beat to us, we ask that you send a streaming link, whether it's SoundCloud or maybe a Dropbox link, whatever it is, so some way that we can just click and stream instead of download. So if you want to send your beat for this Blap or Crap segment, all you have to do is, send a streaming link to your beat to info@blapchat.com, and email subject, you're going to put Blap or Crap, and we will choose you at random to be on the segment. So our first submission is by Alex Kane. Here we go.
Alex Kane.
Alex Kane. Like West Coasty. That was Alex Kane Beats. I guess I'll start it off. It wasn't a bad beat, but I am gonna crap it, only because I don't blap things that I don't love. But I thought it was cool. It had a little West Coast bounce. I think that the idea of it was there, but I think the execution could have been a little better. Like, it was a little too 2011 SoundCloud. Yeah, like SoundClick kind of beat. What do you think?
I felt the same way. Wasn't a terrible beat, but I'm gonna crap it. Once it came in, I definitely felt the West Coast vibe, but it was a little dated for me. It felt a little I would say dated. I feel like some of the sound selection could have been better as far as like some of the like the synths and pianos that he used. But other than that, it wasn't a bad beat. Yeah,
it wasn't terrible.
I think, like you said, the idea is there. It's just sounds a little dated. The sound selection's a little dated.
Yeah. Our next submission is by Pakusa. I hope I'm saying that right. Pakusa, here we go. right, that was Pakusa with the submission. Perfection, what do you think?
I'm gonna crap that. That also wasn't a bad beat. Wasn't my favorite, but I can hear some licensing opportunities with that. Like I can hear that, like, you know, being featured on some type of, I don't know, some type of maybe like show, like, yeah, like an action scene or YouTube, something with movement. Video. Yeah. Wasn't a terrible beat. I kind of wanted to hear hi-hats in there. I didn't hear any hi-hats really, any like movement with that. But it wasn't a bad beat. Just, it's not something I would like, if I heard a song on it, I wouldn't really be interested. Yeah. But definitely some good licensing opportunities. Yeah,
you pretty much said it. You same thing, licensing potential, a little on the boring side, but that, you know, that's subjective, obviously. But I think the actual beat wasn't terrible.
The mix wasn't bad either, honestly.
Yeah, it was like sort of background ambiance kind of thing. Like I can hear that playing like massage. Exactly. How'd you know I was gonna say it? I feel like I'm getting a massage right now.
Your eyes closed.
I'm saying eyes closed with the incense. You know what I'm saying? Our next
in the eyes.
Exactly, dude. Exactly. Got the face mask. Next submission, or our last submission for today, is by Jordan Makes Beats, and this is refreshing because in the email she said female producers. So yes, let's go. More female producers. Here we go. Jordan, Jorden. Here we go. Jordan. Okay. Okay. I love the programming.
I like the percussion she used too. Yeah.
I fuck with this.
Yeah, that's a BLAP for sure. That one's ready to go. I fuck with that.
Yeah. We got our first BLAP.
See, the last beat of the last show of the year.
We have to end it with the BLAP.
Fucking women.
Yes.
BLAP.
Shout to Jordan.
BLAP. Shout out to Jordan Makes Beats.
Really, really cool beat. Like percussion, the melodies. Ready to go. I really like that beat.
Yeah, I think that track's ready to go. I like it because
Jordan, send us some more beats, man.
Facts.
Yeah,
send me some shit.
Yo,
I like the percussion. Lately I've just been loving playing with percussion and just putting different sounds to fill like spaces and make it bouncy and move. And the mix was cool. I like the 808.
Shit was knocking. Yeah. The programming, all those like little percussion.
That shit was fire. She was definitely a BLAP for sure.
Fire. Good job, Jordan. Want to hear more?
Yeah, facts.
That's a good way to end it off.
Facts,
guys.
That means women next year. See, it's
just women in general. I've been saying this since day one. Women run the world. Men, we're trash. We're so stupid. Men are stupid. We are. We're just sloppy. Men are just like so like we just want to eat and fucking.
You gotta get your shit together.
Hunt and gather.
Hunt whatever. And fucking gather.
Whatever. Like men are dumb.
Yeah.
Anyway, so 2019, amazing. Wrap up. Very, very awesome year. I think 2020 is gonna be a very, very amazing year as well. Even better. Shout to all of the creators out there that are just consistently digging in, feeling good, producing, make music. I think the moral of today's episode was basically, be true to yourself, make the music, don't get caught up in the internet and watching people win and like, comparing yourself to other people. be fearless, try different things, but ultimately, if music production is your goal, then be a music producer. Produce music. Don't worry about the outside stuff for now. Just get in there and make music, man. I think that's the message. Mm-hmm. So shout out to everybody, man. Me and Perfection. We held it down.
Facts.
We're here.
Shout out to the squad.
Shout out to the squad. Shout out to Josh
for holding us down all fucking year.
J. Jules is
Facts.
a beast. He's living his best life. Shout out to Atlas the Plug. Shout out to Glam. We miss those guys, man. And we'll see you guys next year, man. It's so crazy to see that. Everybody have an amazing holiday. Stay safe.
Don't drink and drive.
Don't drink and drive. But if you're home, drink, eat, be merry.
Yeah, and send me gifts.
Send Perfection gifts. You already know. Not gifts.
Yeah, not gifts.
Gifts. Tangible.
Gifts.
Things, physical things you can give. Not gifts.
Don't be a creep either.
Don't be a creep. Please, guys, creeps. Go back to 20.
If you're a creep, I'm blocking you.
Yeah, you're getting blocked.
You're
getting muted, blocked.
You're restricted.
Yeah, you're restricted. Exactly.
You're impeached.
You are officially impeached.
You're impeached.
We're out of here, guys. Peace. We'll see you guys next year. Episode 113.
Later.
We out.